action from April 2022.
With a continuous absence from court, state prosecutors are pursuing two sureties who granted bail conditions for former Chief Executive of Maslog, Mrs. Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu.
Unlawful parking on shoulders of road without reflectors, a recipe for disaster for monitoring public.
Earlier in next 3 months if scheduled elections face further delays. You're live on GBC News and GTV. It's time for News Hour. Hello, good evening. I'm Siyoko Kwakucha. Welcome to the news.
My name is Rahmatu Mahmoud Jawando. We're streaming live via Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We also have promotional to do the sign language.
The Commander Sugar Factory is expected to start production in April this year. Though the factory is yet to begin production, 50 hands from the community have been engaged to assist in putting finishing touches to the facility.
This came up when traditional leaders from Commander called on President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House in Accra. Adred Nyakun reports. We bring you that story later.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagman, is not happy about the decision of the first Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Osewusu, to overrule a decision he had taken. The Speaker had admitted a private member's motion filed by 3 minority MPs for a bipartisan committee to look into COVID-19 expenditures. However, when the Speaker was away and the first Deputy Speaker took over, he dismissed the motion with the argument that the Speaker should not have admitted such a motion.
Communication to the House on Wednesday, the Speaker said this was the second time the first Speaker had overruled a decision he had taken, describing it as unconstitutional, illegal and offensive.
Story later. State prosecutors are pursuing the two sureties who granted the bail conditions for the former Chief Executive of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslog, Mrs. Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu, over her continuous absence from the trial.
Ationu was on February 14, 2029, granted bail in the sum of 5 million Ghana cedis with two sureties. This was after she pleaded not guilty to 78 counts of causing financial loss to the state, stealing and contravention of the Public Procurement Act, among other charges.
Mrs. Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu has since October 2021 been absent from court sittings after she was said to have traveled out of the country for medical examination. On Wednesday, the prosecution led by Principal State Attorney Ms. Stella Ohene-Appiah told the court prosecution had filed 2 applications to deal with the situation. The first application, she said, is a forfeiture of recognizance of sureties, and the second being an application for her to be tried in absentia. Mr. Gavivina Tamaklo, formerly of the National Theatre, and Mr. Alex Mensah-Mode, former GNPC Chief Executive Officer, who stood sureties for Mrs. Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu, are to be served with forfeiture processes to come to court to explain why they should not be made to pay the 5 million cedis bail sum to the state. The presiding judge, Justice Asari Botri, subsequently adjourned the case to March 10, 2022, pending service on sureties to appear in court. Mr. Daniel Axim, former operations manager of Maslog, is the second accused person in the matter. The two accused persons are being prosecuted for allegedly stealing, causing financial loss to the state to the fortune of 93 million Ghana cedis, among other charges. Together, the two are facing 78 counts of charges, including conspiracy to steal, stealing, unauthorized commitment resulting in a financial obligation for the government, improper payment, money laundering, and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. The two accused persons allegedly stole in total 3,198,280 Ghana cedis whilst at Maslok and willfully caused a 1,973,780 Ghana cedis financial loss to the state. Again, Mrs. Tamaklu and her accomplice, while in charge of Maslok, allegedly made unauthorized commitments resulting in financial obligations for the government to the tune of 61,735,832 Ghana cedis. The charges against the two also include a 22,153,118 Ghana cedis lost to public property and improper payment of 273,743 Ghana cedis, as well as money laundering in the sum of 3,704,380 cedis during their tenure in office.
On Wednesday, a team from the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC, visited the disabled father and son, Dominic and Divine, to check on their well-being. Out of the benevolence of the public, GBC presented some items and money received on their behalf towards the child's medical care. A Tema-based company, Privileged Properties, also presented a check for Divine. Clara Mlano reports.
When he got to his wits' end with the condition of his son, after coping with it for almost 11 years, his father, Dominic Koji, thought of giving up until GBC heard of their plights and stepped in. Barely 3 months of amplifying their plights on air, help has come in for the boy, Divine, to access proper medical care.
Please welcome.
Led by GBC News' channel manager, Mr. Ni Udate Lamte, 20,000 cedis in cash and some provisions were presented to the family.
GBC's mandate as a public broadcaster, we also engage in corporate social responsibility. I would say this as an opportune time to support Little Divine in these times of challenge. And so we're able to mobilize an amount of 20,000 Ghana cedis from supporters. And so we are a channel that they used to donate this amount of money to him, 20,000 cedis, and this opportunity to ask on all who are watching to come on board and support.
Moved by the story like other donors, Privileged Properties also presented a check for 2,000 cedis to support them.
My boss don't want his name to be mentioned, so he gave us a check of 2,000 Ghana cedi to be given to Divine in support with his health. And
few weeks ago, it was a sad encounter with his family. But today, Mr. Dominic Koji, father of the boy, says he is relieved somewhat, knowing that someone cares and God has made a way.
And I want to thank all those who are online, made these promises to come to pass. I said, may God bless you, may God keep you. Whatever strength that you lost or you lose for my sake, may God give it back to you.
With this amount in hand, Divine will soon begin his medicals with the hope to get a father's wish come to pass, getting his son to be independent. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
We pray that, Lord God, your presence will dislodge all other presence which is not of you. In the mighty name of Jesus.
The Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagbin, is not happy about the decision of the first Speaker, Mr. Joseph Osei-Wusu, to overrule a decision he had taken. The Speaker had admitted a private member's motion filed by 3 minority MPs from a bipartisan committee to look into COVID-19 expenditures. However, when the Speaker was away for the first Deputy Speaker took over, he dismissed the motion with the argument that the Speaker should not have admitted such a motion. In his formal communication to the House on Wednesday, the Speaker said this was the second time the first Speaker had overruled a decision he had taken, describing it as unconstitutional, illegal and offensive.
Our standing orders provide the procedure for challenging the rulings of the chair, and those aggrieved by the rulings may take the necessary steps. The proposals of the private member's motion may thus be guided by the standing orders of the House to right the wrong. I hope this statement provides a much-needed clarity on the matters of dispute that arose yesterday. And I hope we can forge ahead for the common good of the people who have entrusted us with leadership and a mandate to better their lives. The standing order will guide those who brought the motion, and the property will be done for the House to consider the motion. Please, it's not only you, members of Parliament, who discuss national matters with me. Your ministers, your presidents, traditional leaders, and the rest, we do them together. I can tell you that the country is not happy with our performance. We have to up our game. As the person of ultimate responsibility, I reiterate, I will do so with the powers and authority that has been conferred on me by the Constitution and the laws of this country. I mean what I say.
Parking or stopping a tractor trailer on the shoulder of a roadway creates hazard for the motoring public and is generally prohibited by trucking company safety policies. This report is a reminder of the dangerous situations that may occur when trucks park on the shoulder of a roadway without visible reflectors or being towed away, a common practice on major roads in Ghana.
Under typical roadway conditions, shoulders are intended to provide a space of relative safety beyond the travel lanes for vehicles that break down. They also serve as a clear zone for drivers to take emergency maneuvers to avoid a crash. Shoulders can also satisfy these critical safety purposes if they are clear and unobstructed. Unlawful parking of trucks and trailers along major roads in Ghana continue to pose threats to road safety. High number of casualties in some accidents are believed to be as a result of prevalence of trucks and trailers breakdown on major roads. These trucks are normally parked or left wherever they developed a fault, whether in the middle of the road, on the shoulders of the road, or in their lanes without visible reflectors. Usually these trucks are loaded with goods. Others may be offloading goods on the shoulders of the road. Situations like these make the intersection narrow and also block highways. A Kumasi-bound Kia Grand Bed bus from Bolgatanga was involved in an accident on the Kintampo-Techiman Road at a point close to the Tuobodom Senior High School in the Techiman North District of Bono East region when it ran into a breakdown articulator DAF truck loaded with stationery from Burkina Faso on Wednesday, January 19, 2022. On New Year's Eve, the police in Akuse mounted a search for a tipper truck driver who parked on the edge of the road without reflectors, hence causing an accident, claiming 9 lives. 232 Ghanaians have died in road crashes in January 2022 alone. The figure from the National Road Safety Authority, although is a reduction to that of the same period last year, the crashes associated with shoulder parking is still a huge challenge to safety authorities.
The Commander Sugar Factory is expected to start production in April this year. Though the factory is yet to begin production, 50 hands from the community have been engaged to assist in putting finishing touches to the facility. This came up when traditional leaders from Commander called on President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House in Accra. Adret Nyaku reports.
Of Commander Sugar Factory evokes memories of controversies with accusations and counter-allegations. However, now that dust seems to have settled, new life will be injected into the facility, with traditional leaders from Commander giving a thumbs up to President Akufo-Addo for giving new hope to the Commander Sugar Factory.
No, Commander Sugar Factory have started. Actually, almost about 50 from Shawa. Sisi awo ye painting as it was CCC on Chebiano. Yobashase for the processing with the raw material. Now, Mr. President, outgrowers here at this time because the original land now were allocated for our friend and sugar factory, about 5,000 and over. No, see, them land now about if you.
President Akufo-Addo was elated that the Commander Sugar Factory will bounce back to work in April. He, however, said the land size must be increased for the outgrower scheme from 5,000 acres to 20,000 acres.
Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. And as I say, planning, no Indian phone by whenever by April, production will have begun of the sugar factory. Sugar factory, about the Assam Cassia. It didn't say 1 year, Zukoria, Aquaba, Yami, Adaruma, Afadia, Mse, Muhammad who said, Isiko Paso, nearby, in tea. You may say by April, no.
Traditional leaders from Commander were grateful to President Akufo-Addo for the support he gave them during the 40 days funeral rite of Nana Kojo crew. They also appealed to President Akufo-Addo for a district with its capital at Commander. Edward Nyakum reporting for GBC News.
The Embassy of Lebanon in Ghana has awarded a 71,000 cedi scholarship package to 12 students of the University of Ghana School of Law. Lebanon's ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Maher Kher, says the initiative is to financially support brilliant Ghanaian students to assist Ghana's development drive.
For the past 5 years, since the running of the Lebanese Annual Scholarship Facility, many Ghanaian students have had the weight of financing their education lifted. It is a facility to support top-notch students in some selected tertiary institutions. These include the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the School of Languages, and the University of Ghana. In all, 13 law students at levels 200, 300 and 400 received the package. The Dean of the University of Ghana School of Law, Professor Raymond Atuguba, appealed to the embassy to expand the program to include some brilliant but needy students. In an interview with GBC News in Accra, the Provost of the College of Humanities of the University of Ghana, Professor Dan Frimponofori, was grateful to the Embassy of Lebanon for the gesture. Ambassador Mahid Kiir assured that the government of Lebanon will continue to partner the government of Ghana to spur on development in Ghana. Through this Lebanese initiative, Many beneficiaries have become professional lawyers, journalists, development communicators, and public relations officers, among others. Reporting for GBC News, Gifty AJ, Accra.
At an inaugural ceremony to receive 6 new technical committee of the Engineering Council Ghana into office, the Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, said Ghanaians must put engineers to checks for better results.
The various committees include the Finance and Administration, Licensing and Registration, Discipline, Ethics and Legal. The rest are Education and Training, Standards and Professional Practice, and the Public and International Affairs. The Registrar of the Engineers Council, Mr. Wise Amedepe, charged the Public and International Affairs Committee to engage in a massive sensitization about the Council for Ghanaians to know and appreciate the agency. The acting chairperson of the Engineers Council, Professor Mark Adwa-Samoa, said any person who practices engineering must register with the Council by law. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, urged Ghanaians to put engineers to checks.
Members of the public could also assist in this effort by reporting defective works to the Council so appropriate and timely corrective measures can be taken.
The law, which establishes the Engineering Council Ghana, is an Act of Parliament, 2011 Act 819. Its mandate is to register, license and certify practitioners in the service. The Engineering Council Ghana envisions to ensure the highest professional standards in the practice of engineering for society and national development.
Ghana Digital Center has trained over 15,000 youth in various skill developments, nurtured over 200 businesses and created over 5,000 jobs. The Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, made this known at the inaugural ceremony of the governing board of the Ghana Digital Center in Accra.
To regulate Ghana's air transport industry, among other responsibilities. The authority is picking up from its lost gains post-COVID-19, which put a temporary hold on air travel and downward economic projections with job losses and poor managerial policies. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is hopeful that the new board will improve on stringent measures to leave no stone unturned. At the board's inauguration in Accra, the chairman of the 9-member board, Captain Paul Spencer, was optimistic that his team will work hard to strengthen policy direction of the authority towards the goal of making Ghana an aviation hub achievable.
The board will seek to establish spirit decor among staff and management of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority for smooth management of affairs. As a board, we shall ensure that a conducive environment is established to leverage the years of experience of our esteemed members.
The 9-member team has chairman Captain Paul Spencer, Air Commodore Esrifi, Madam Mabel Sego, Mr. Akwesi Owusu-Ansah, Madam Joyce Opoku-Boateng, Mr. Ofori Kofi Newman, Mr. Alfred Obeng, Madam Cecilia Kofi, and Mr. Charles Kreku, an engineer.
Members of the Council of State have met the leadership of the Minority Caucus in Parliament to discuss issues on national interest. The meeting was held in Camara.
At the meeting were the Minority Leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, the Deputy Minority Leader, Mr. James Kluche Avedi, the Minority Whip, Mr. Mohamed Muntaka, and his 2 deputies, Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed and Mrs. Comfort Doyo Kujogansa.
After engaging with you, we also hope to engage with the majority side of Parliament and even engage the Speaker, engage all of us, all the 3 arms, and then chart a way that would inure to the benefit of the country.
The Minority Leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, was grateful to the Council for the interaction.
Collectively be assured that we mean well for our country, we mean well for our democracy, and will take guidance from your very, very rich background and diverse expertise to support the cause of a better Ghana.
Both parties declined to comment about their meeting due to the sensitive nature of issues discussed, although they admitted discussions were frank and fruitful. Approving the e-levy to generate more revenue for government has resulted in a stalemate among the minority and majority in parliament, and many believe engaging both sides of the House could resolve the situation. Cyril Fori, GBC News, Accra.
The Ghana Digital Center has trained over 15,000 youth in various skill development, nurtured over 200 businesses, and created over 5,000 jobs. The Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Mrs. Esla Owusu-Ekufo, made this known at the inaugural ceremony of the governing board of the Ghana Digital Center in Accra.
The Ghana Digital Center was established in July 2017 by the Ministry of Communications to position Ghana as a regional digital hub to champion the development and management of technology parks and digital centers across the country. Ghana Digital Center over the past 5 years has performed creditably and is poised to extend its physical infrastructure beyond the capital. Inaugurating a 9-member board of the Ghana Digital Center, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, tasked members to oversee the successful operationalization of innovation centers across the country to scale up economic growth.
The government intends to replicate the Accra Digital Center model in other regions by developing existing infrastructure to address the challenge of demand for real estate facilities by small and medium-scale digital firms across the country.
The board chairman of the Ghana Digital Center, Mr. Prince Ofosu-Sefa, pledged the board's commitment to push the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda forward via information communication technology. In a related development, a 9-member governing board of the Ghana India Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT has also been inaugurated in Accra. The Minister for Communications, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, says even though the center has built capacity for over 40,000 students in Ghana and other parts of the continent since its inception, an all-hands-on-deck approach is needed to make its presence felt in other regions.
That I will at all times well and truly serve the Republic of Ghana in the office of chairperson or member
The board chairman of the Ghana India Kofi Annan Center for Excellence in ICT, Mr. Kwame Uzu, said ICT holds the key to making Ghana attain sustainable development.
You're watching News Hour on GBC News, your news and governance channel. Let's take a breather. We'll be back shortly.
Good evening and welcome. Time now for the business segment, proudly brought to you by MTN and Quick Credit. I am Dorothy Ajamai. From 1st April 2022, all betting and gaming agencies, e-VAT invoicing, e-commerce and properties will be taxed. This forms part of the tax policy measures to ensure fiscal sustainability in Ghana. The Auditor General, Mr. Johnson Ekuyamu, said this at the launch of the 2021 financial year audits in Accra. At the launch of the 2021 financial year audits, issues on revenue mobilization, digital platforms, corruption, and irregularities were high on the agenda. On tax revenue mobilization in Ghana, the GRA in 2020 was expected to collect over 45 billion cedis, but had a little over 42 billion cedis. In 2021, an amount of 57.433 billion cedis was its target, but 57.055 billion cedis was collected. In 2022, GRA is expected to collect 80.3 billion cedis, which represents 39.8% of revenue targets for the fiscal year. The Assistant Commissioner in charge of Research Policy, GRA, Mr. Alex Kanbat, said to achieve its 2022 target, starting April 1, 2022, all betting and gaming agencies, e-VAT invoicing, e-commerce and properties will be taxed as part of the tax policy measures to ensure fiscal sustainability. A Deputy Minister for Finance, Mrs. Abna Osaya-Sari, asked the Auditor General to explain in simple terms the irregularities indicated in its reports to the public for better understanding. She mentioned some digital payment platforms introduced by the government to ensure sound financial management system.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has introduced and implemented a number of revenue administration systems, including the Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICAMS, the Ghana.gov, which is a public payment platform for all people who want to do business with government. We've also introduced the cashless system of paying taxes. And there's also the linkage of the national identification cards to our tax identification numbers.
Recounting all audit works rendered by successive auditors general, which resulted in significant financial saving in the country, the Auditor General, Mr. Johnson Ekuyamu, urged all heads of institutions to show keen interest in the accounts on purchases made to avoid corruption and irregularities.
Corruption affects the nation as a whole, not individuals. We shouldn't fight on the colors of politics. You see, we are fighting corruption as citizens of our nation. Subsequently, if you produce a payment voucher, we don't have a problem. So our duty is to report all the irregularities we find.
This year's event is on the theme ensuring fiscal sustainability through revenue collection and accounting, the role of the state auditor. The Petroleum Commission is seeking to drastically increase the number of the country's welding professionals to take up available jobs in the country's upstream oil and gas space. After more than a decade of oil find, international oil companies still rely heavily on expatriate welders for very involving contracts. The Commission has thus launched the Ghana Welding Bureau to produce welders with international certification for welding jobs. The Bureau is affiliated to the International Welding Institute.
Welding and welders in the Ghana's unemployment situation is worsening. In the case of the country's upstream oil and gas sector, however, job opportunities find non-existent technical local hands. Ghana's oil exploration journey started in 2010 without the requisite manpower to take up jobs in certain key sectors of the oil business. 12 years on, the problem persists. Regulator of the sector, the Petroleum Commission, believes this trend cannot continue. Under the broader local content and the accelerated oil and gas development program, the Commission has launched the Ghana Welding Bureau to train and certify welders ready for jobs in the oil and gas space.
Welding and pipe fitting have been identified by the Commission as technician areas where Ghana lags behind. By reason of that, we have expatriate welders and pipe fitters coming to do job roles in our upstream petroleum sector. In a particular instance, just 3 or so years ago, a company that had won a contract to carry out a major pipe laying project in Ghana sought to bring in 200 expatriate welders and pipe fitters. The justification was that Ghana had no welders and pipe fitters of acceptable standards. In the end, though the commission was able to reduce the number that was to be brought in from 200 to 120 welders and pipe fitters, that number, even in our consideration, was too high.
Moving forward, pipe fitting, a major activity in the sector, will be taught at the technical university level. 8 technical university lecturers are currently receiving training abroad to return as trainers of trainers in pipe fitting and welding. At the launch of the Ghana Welding Bureau on Wednesday, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh noted that the country will only develop with the right attention paid to technical education.
The most difficult job, and essentially the job that will make Ghana what we want Ghana to be, is the technical vocational education and training, or professionalizing the labor force. In fact,
the Ghana Welding Bureau, affiliated to the International Institute of Welding, will be the highest welding certificate awarding body in the country. The Institute of Welders Ghana has expressed interest in joining the bureau.
You're still watching the business segment of News Hour. 3 institutions, GCB Bank, Ghana Chamber of Mines and the Minerals Income Investment Fund, are the latest to support the Apiate Support Fund. Both presented checks plus some relief items from 2 other individuals to complement government's efforts for the people of Apiate. Clara Mlanu reports.
Coming from the Ghana Chamber of Mines was a check for $4 million. It is a contribution from 4 mining firms: Newmont Ghana, Chirano Gold Mines, Goldfields Ghana, and Anglo Gold Ashanti. To the collapsed mining community, knowing the immense benefits of gold to their operations and very existence. GCB Bank's check was for 100,000 Ghana cedis. For the bank, this is to assist the committee meet their proposed March deadline to generate enough funds in the kitty for reconstruction works to begin on their Apiate town as soon as possible. Next was the Minerals Income Investments Fund, making a donation of 200,000 Ghana cedis, having in mind the building of a world-class minerals industry and with one mining community down, realizing that dream may be a challenge. Wednesday's donation by MIF is to get the people of Apiate back on their feet. A deputy minister at the office of the Attorney General, Madam Diana Suna Dapa, had 2,000 cedis as her widow's mite to the fund. With some relief items, clothing and utensils, businesswoman Madame Philomena Deborah says her presentation is a way of putting a shirt on the back of the people in their day-to-day activities. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
Let's have the performance of the local currency on the forex markets and some commodity prices.
Hello, good evening. You're welcome to the Energy segment on News Hour. My name is Mabel Anna. To our first story, the Ministry of Transport is to introduce an e-mobility policy to promote the use of electric vehicles in the country. The government has earmarked about $20 million to purchase some e-vehicles this year. Minister for Transport, Mr. Kweku Esiama, said the ministry is looking for the needed investment to transit from fossil fuel to vehicles to environmental-friendly vehicles as part of net zero emission agenda.
Achieving a net zero future requires coordinated action touching on many aspects of our national economy. It also means that we need to reform how we generate and use energy to power the various sectors of our economy. Globally, countries are responding to the call for net zero emission future. The United Kingdom, for instance, has set target aiming to achieve the net zero emission by 2050. Europe is also working towards stopping the production of diesel vehicles. They are going to stop production of diesel vehicles by 2030, and we are in 2022. We don't produce vehicles. The impression is that 8 years ahead of us, all these vehicles in Europe will be exported to our country. Spare parts will no more be produced, and we wouldn't know how we are going to use these vehicles. So the earlier we plan to embrace ourselves for the future, the better it will be for us.
With the rate at which the price of petroleum products keeps increasing at the pumps, consumers must devise means to save fuel. Here's how to make the most out of the fuel you buy.
If you are looking to purchase a car, prioritize on a low fuel consumption vehicle. Cars with MPG ratings of 30 and above fall in this category. They are mostly considered inexpensive and are readily available on the market. Filling up your tank during the coolest time of the day helps save fuel because during these times, gasoline is densest. Fuel stations measure volumes of gasoline, not densities of fuel concentration. Avoid traffic as much as possible. If you are in Accra, then you must not be told that the traffic situation can be quite worrying, especially in the mornings and early evenings. For this reason, leaving home before 6 a.m. and setting off before 5 p.m. will save you a lot of time and all the hassle that comes with spending long hours in traffic. The longer you stay in traffic, the more fuel you burn. Avoid too much acceleration and aggressive driving. Driving aggressively not only depletes fuel faster, but also causes brakes and other parts of the car to wear off easily. Driving a moderate speed helps your car to steadily consume fuel instead of galloping and depleting faster. Also, the Environmental Protection Agency advises that driving slowly can save up to 20% of fuel and also help in reducing the rate of road accidents. Avoid unnecessary use of AC. This is common knowledge to almost all vehicle owners and drivers. Keeping the air conditioning in your car on for a long time sucks the life out of your fuel and does so very fast. It may be too hot to drive without the air condition, so it will be prudent to set the temperature minimally to reduce the fuel consumption. Parking your car in a cool area under shade will help your car retain more fuel, as evaporation does not occur without the sun or heat. When your car sits in the sun for long, you may not need a lot of air conditioning to cool down the temperature in the car.
This brings us to the end of the energy segment. My name is Mabel Anang.
Welcome to the Energy segment brought to you by Lufat, a team of surgeons and professors of surgery from Humanity First, a US-based charitable trust, have taken a number of Ghanaian surgeons and perioperative nurses through laparoscopy skills. Laparoscopy is a minimally invasive technique that requires that the surgery is undertaken through small incisions created in the abdomen and with the aid of a camera. The US-based medical team was partnered by the Medical and Surgical Skills Institute of the University of Ghana Medical School.
Laparoscopy, otherwise known as pinhole or keyhole surgery, is now mostly preferred because it does not require that you cut open the patient to remove affected organs. It rather offers a safer and less painful option, and patients are said to heal faster. Laparoscopy requires a hand-eye coordination. The team from Humanity First, which include robotic surgeons, offer training in laparoscopy, epidural anesthesia, among others.
We are helping clinicians to have the basic skills, knowledge, and some mentorship around doing regional blocks, which are a way for people to have less pain after procedures and numb the nerves, so that we can do particularly procedures on the extremities or other areas with very minimal general anesthesia, so they're not asleep as much. And so it's much safer for patients if they have a shoulder procedure or an arm procedure or a minor procedure. Even for labor, epidural anesthesia is very important.
Children who are born with their
That was the health segment brought to you by Lufat.